Yeah.
All right, hold up.
1, 2, 2, 2.
Good night, greetings everybody. We are G-Syndicate, and tonight is vibes as we syndicate you vibes, you know. You're gonna be hearing some songs off our upcoming EP. Think it's gonna be nice. So right about now, we're starting with this one. Ready to blow? So are you ready to go? So are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Oh, ready to blow, ready to blow. Oh, so let me go.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
It's time to start the party. Sometimes we be getting dirty. This time we're starting this thing right. Hey, so just kick off your shoes. It's no time to feel the blues. So baby, we gonna do our thing tonight. Oh, leave the work at home, leave the stress alone. Toss away your worries. Ain't got no time for that, baby. Now you got the chance. Lose your fears, just dance. We're gonna rock this party. Just raise your hands if you're ready.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
It's time for you to be free. Let's just enjoy the party tonight. We just gonna ease our mind. So just think about the world, 'cause we're not gonna step on all in the way. Just leaving all our fears behind. So leave the work at home, leave the stress alone. Toss away your worries. Ain't got no time for that, baby. Now you got the chance. Lose your fears, just dance. We're gonna rock this party. Just raise your hands if you're ready.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
Let the music take control. Let it seep into your soul. When the bass line starts pulsating, feel the stress evaporate. Let it bring me to your mind. There could be no better time to get on the floor, 'cause we're just ready to blow. Ready to blow, start up the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark on the trombone.
Start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go.
Give it up for Mark, y'all.
So
let me go.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's
Be
go.
ready to blow.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
Yes, folks, good night one more time. We are G-Syndicate. This next song we're going to do for you, you can find it on our upcoming EP called Revive. We released it last year, and be ready to rock. This one is called Chemistry.
Hey, 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 girl. Hey, 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 girl.
jumping, sweet catty, honey bar, good looking. The way how you're moving, put me in a mood, I'm glad to see you. Your waistline on the baseline, so attractive, I wanna be a captive. I see a smile on your face now, so beautiful, I know you're original.
So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back for me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Love how you dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we still improving. I love how you dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we still improving. We're still grooving. We're still grooving. We're still grooving.
Come talk to me, girl, cause the intelligent and you run the world. And let me say face to face, know you feel the tension, just had to mention. Your brown eyes, shining bright, so gorgeous and glowing like sunlight. I hear your voice, angelic eyes, so amazing, I wanna keep this going.
So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back on me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. I love how you dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we're still grooving. I love how you dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we're still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving.
Hey, girl, I wanna take you home with me.
And hey, girl, show you good energy, yeah.
Hey, girl, I wanna treat you right, you see, you see, you see.
Hey, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. What you won't do for love. You try everything, but you won't give up. What you won't do for love. You try everything, but you won't give up. So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back on me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Love your dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, come and turn grooving. I love your dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, come and turn grooving. I love your dance and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance with me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, we're still moving. I love your dance and show off, show off. You have my attention. Dance with me, baby.
Step out, step out.
Just keep it moving, but we're still grooving. We're still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving. Yeah.
The next selection is entitled Englishman in New York, a song made famous by Sting in the 80s. Hope you enjoy.
I don't drink coffee, I drink tea, my tea. I like my toaster on one side. You can hear it in my accent when I talk. I'm an Englishman in New York. See me walking down Fifth Avenue, a walking king here at my side. I take it everywhere I walk. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien.
alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
If manners make it man, as someone said,
he's a hero of the day.
It takes a man to suffer ignorance and smile. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Modesty's propriety can lead to notoriety. You could end up as the only one. Gentleness, sobriety, are rare in this society. At night a candle's brighter than the sun. In New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made up. There's nothing you can do. In New York,
There's more than combat gear to make a man. There's more than a license for a gun. Confront your enemies, avoid them when you can. A gentleman will walk but never run. If manners make it man, and someone said he's a hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and strive. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
You know you sing at home.
oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York City.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Now, growing up in the 90s, I would have loved these songs. I'm sure those of you that know them will love them as well. So we got two songs coming up for you. We got I Wanna Know by Joe and Someone to Love by John B. and Babyface. Hope you guys enjoy.
It's amazing how you knock me off my feet. Every time you come around me, I get weak. Oh. Nobody ever made me feel this way. No. You kiss my lips and then you take my breath away. So I wanna know what turns you on. Yeah, I wanna know, so I can be all that and more. And I'd like to know what makes you cry. Oh, so I can be the one to always make you smile. Girl, he never understood what you were with. No. And he never took the time to make it worse.
Deserve more loving, girl.
Baby, I'm the kind of man who shows consent. Yes, I do. Any way that I can please you, let me learn. So I wanna know what turns you on. Yeah, and I wanna know, so I can be all that and more. And I'd like to know.
Warning. What you are about to hear goes against traditional romantic counsel expressed by friends, family, and Instagram memes and quotes. Open-mindedness is advised.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, and welcome to another edition of the Senate Podcast. I'm your host, Neil, joined as always by my brother from another, my host, Derek. Derek?
Yeah.
There he is. I can't see it though, so I figured just figure it out.
It should be there though. Ain't got me yet.
All right. Yeah, we hear you. We can't.
That's not good.
I don't worry about it, man. I will figure that out behind the scenes as the time goes. All right, let me hold on a minute. Let me call him again. See if we can get him. Anyhow, we have the beautiful, talented, as always, Dr. Carrie Ann Pierre. There she is. Let she there. Look. Dr. Carrie, what's going on? Let me talk to you while we get Derek sorted out. What's going on?
I'm good, thank you. I'm here. Always good to hang out.
Yep. While we wait for Derek, people, how you all going, man? Those of you that are in Barbados, you know, we are under Heavy Manners by Brett, and this is not Brett Linton that sometimes comes on to our show. This is Brett, the tropical storm. Going under some we got some warnings and heavy winds and rains and stuff like that. How everybody doing, man? How everybody surviving? Please be safe out there. Please be safe. Dr. Carrie, how is everything? How's the weather? You're in neck of the woods.
So we have heavy rains here too. It's not yet a hurricane warning, but there are some heavy rains the past few days. So we'll get there eventually, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right. Let me see what Derek. Let me try Derek again here. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, you are indeed watching the Senate Podcast. How is everybody doing? Tango Fox says it's cool in his location. Shout out Jason. Jason says SYSBM. What community? What? I don't know what that means. When it comes to the acronyms and things for the internet, I am a novice. All right, hold on a minute, Dr. Carey. Don't move.
No problem.
Okay, still there, Dr. Carey?
I'm here.
All right. Sorry about that break in transmission, ladies and gentlemen, but we are still here. Let me see about getting Derek. Or save yourself, Blackman, there in the comments. All right, let me try to get Derek here now onto the call, and then we can start to crank, do the housekeeping, and keep it pushing.
Okay.
So how is life since you returned back to your native, but not native, but
Not native. Never native.
mm-mm.
No, this is not native, but it's been busy. Been a bit busy. Had a presentation today that went really well. So getting back into this groove in this space.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Life is lifing.
Yeah, I never understand why people say that life is lifing. I don't.
It's a new trend.
Mm.
Life is doing what it does.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we seem to try to get there. I guess it's a good time and then to plug the King's Gathering Part 2. Good night, Cherish. I see Cherish in the house. Cherish is in the building. But on August 20th, we have the second edition of the King's Gathering. This is obviously a follow-on from what we would have done early May. We had a good turnout. People seem to like it. So we decided to go back at the Mannings Ginger Lily Hall at the Bell Estates. August 20th, that's a Sunday at 6 p.m. We'll be meeting to talk about things. We have guests. Jariah Rock was there. He's the lawyer of everything. He gave us some legal advice to kind of protect ourselves in relationships, in marriage and stuff like that, as well as what to look out for. And then, of course, we had Ryan Arthur, who is a physical trainer. We have Jomo Phillips, who is a mental health specialist and psychologist. We had Dr. Carrie-Ann Peart. She would have given a very good presentation with regards to being the ace of fun and kind of what to look out for in your relationship. We had Timothy, who was talking about money matters, and we have Tahir Bobulia as well as Adrian Green, who gave a very, very good presentation on not only the history of us here in the Caribbean, but also the mindset we could have going forward to traversing. So it was very informative. It was not us men sitting down around the corner in some hoods bashing women. It was far from that. It was what we see it as a way for men and women to better themselves, get some information, and improve our community, since it's funny that we are talking about what we were talking about tonight. Shout out Priya, glad for joining us. Romel Vaughn, Philip, Romel Hall, glad to see my brother. Hope everything is well. So yes, so this is the King Gathering. And then of course we have Tam Tara Culinary Creations. They have come on board to help us a bit with the refreshments bit of everything. Shout out Avery, Tam Tara. So they'll be giving us light refreshments. Don't come and expecting a pillow, or rice and stew and a chicken or anything like that. They ain't that kind of show. We can get finger food, something to, help keep the festivities going, something light and respectable. And we would like to thank Tam Tar for gracing us with their sponsorship for the next King's Gathering. So that's it. We are the King's Gathering. I'm trying to get there as I'm talking to y'all. So yeah, we have the King's Gathering, the second edition, August 20th, 6 p.m. Dr. Carey be there again. Timothy is interested again. We're going to have Jariah Rock, and we'll try to get some others, more information as time comes. So check us out. All right. So let me see here about Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Number 4. All right. Right. So I see Kevin joining. I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody is, taking stock and not being anywhere that somebody shouldn't be. I hope everybody is at home, embracing themselves. I may not do a lot of talking tonight, but my mouth feeling kind of funny. For those of you are wondering why we didn't have a show on Tuesday, I had a dentist appointment, and he liked my wisdom tooth more than me, so he decided to take it. And that was a rough experience.
Okay.
So face a little puffy. I'm gonna talk with a little slur. I think I just pop out on my stitchings talking so much.
God.
So
Let's not do that.
yeah, good times. Rihanna, shout out Rihanna. We saw Rihanna over the weekend.
Yay.
And I saw the peoples. You know what I'm saying? So saw the people. So again, congratulations. Saw the people. So congratulations. Ah, there he is. Lucky day, lucky day, lucky day, lucky day. Got me feeling time here. So consider in chair, man. Let me go. Yeah.
Sounding no.
Yeah. Oh, it's sounding good, man.
Okay, just because usually when they join the call like this,
it'd be a little watery and muddy.
Yeah, it's don't be as clear. So just maybe he's got to cut down and come back in. But once we get to go.
Oh, it's struggle streaming. We got a storm, man.
Yeah,
you think it changed just because we got a storm? Eddie Homer, brother, what's going on?
I hear, man. Here, abiding as you all people would say, and I am ready to crank. And because I am ready to crank, big at G-Syndicate, G-Syndicate6.com, G-Syndicate6 on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, G-Syndicate6 on Instagram, spell out 6 on Instagram. I'm sure you guys can do that. Hit the like button, folks. That is the cost of admission tonight. You see, we are 539 subscribers. We got all the people. I hear that Ramel Hall in here, and I am glad because You know, he's a Dr. Umar fan, and I got some lashes for he tonight. He thought,
Wait,
500 lashes for people.
Ramel's a Dr. Umar fan, Ramel, man. Well, Celtics
Yeah,
fan. He's a Celtic fan, so I guess
Yeah,
anything
that's bad enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the like button. We see 4 likes. We got 8 people watching, so we could do that up. And as Kevin is saying, it's better for leather. So it is leather for somebody tonight, and it will not be me. Brace yourself, Dr.
Me neither.
Because I come in here hot, right? So yeah, what's on? Let me stick up. Let me get down to business because they can't hear me talk ignorance. So tonight is that night. Right? Tonight is that night. Don't mind the cute smile on my face, but tonight is that night. This is the one time. This is the one time that you guys might see me a bit pressed, a little bit triggered. Because tonight's show is that show. So in order to set up tonight's show, I figure it would trigger everybody and everybody come along on this journey with me.
So Scorcher kind of mind.
Pretty much. Let's have a watch of this clip from the Oprah Winfrey Network. So if you started, you know who we going down. And this clip has been making the rounds lately, so let's have a watch of this and we can come back, right?
All right, Dr. Carey, you got the paraphernalia. You got the okay. All right, so let's get it. Let's get it in 3, 2, 1.
Maturity, I felt like you don't have authority. You have a responsibility, but no authority. That's what I feel.
Well, those are some strong words. But Joya,
yes,
you didn't ask for another date with him. What was the turnoff?
Specifically, the turnoff was when I asked that question about would you date a single mother? And Jacoby, you proceeded to tell me that basically you're a high-value man and you are too good for a single mother. However, you did also tell me that you were raised by a single mother, which is profound for me to think that a single mother's not good enough for you, but it's good enough for a woman to raise you. That's unfair, and it's very insensitive to women out there who have children.
All right, so just because it's a cycle, I wanted to continue.
It doesn't have to continue.
So what I'm saying is that
it's more about why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history.
So you're a very intelligent
woman. You're a very intelligent woman, right?
Yes.
So if you know, as a woman growing up, you know it's the less likelihood for you to be successful by having a child. So what you do, you be more proactive. Using condoms.
What's that got to do with your choice?
Okay, if you're getting pregnant, then all right, cool. Maybe I shouldn't continue having this child because I'm not getting married. I a better chance of me having a successful life by finding a man. That's what I'm thinking.
So you were raised by a single mother.
Yes. And
Is your mother still alive?
I struggled. My mom's still alive.
Did she struggle or did you struggle?
Both of us struggled.
Okay, so your words that echoed all around social media, and I want to make sure that we have this clearly, were, I'm a high-value man. I've done things to step up my echelon, and I'm not going to settle for a single mother.
Yeah,
Did I have that correctly? I want to be clear.
Yeah, we'll be selling.
Right. So what makes you think you're a high-value man? The car you drive?
No, the value I put out into the world.
What about your character?
I have great character. I've built myself to basically have better choices. You want to know why? Because women can choose and make a choice.
They can.
They can say, I don't want to date a man that makes less than 6 figures.
They can.
And then what are you doing? You're
But we're
demeaning
not
a man.
talking about that. That's not the situation at hand.
Listen, hold on.
That's not the
A woman can say,
conversation.
I won't date a man less than 5'8", and the man could be 5'4". Do they care about
What does that have to do
ostracizing all of those
with
men?
anything?
If a fat man is sitting here, he can be a fat man, right? But if a fat woman is sitting here, you would say, oh no, we're body positive. Oh, no, we can't say that. We can't. It's all about picking her up. So every time it's saying something for a man,
bro,
it's down.
You got a lot on your back.
Yeah,
okay.
man.
So what I want to be clear, not
rights.
just for you, but for everybody out there, is the car you drive, your resume, your bank account, your accolades is not what makes you a high-value man.
Definitely not.
We are all defined by the sum of our deeds and our character, and you, brother, are coming up to the sum of 0.
Be clear.
There are more ways to watch OWN now than ever before.
You can cut off that last part there.
Yeah. So you guys saw the clip. Very interesting stuff. And you would have heard some of the sign language being used against the young gentleman in the docket. And I say docket because it did feel like he was on trial just a little bit, but more than a little bit. And why? All because he had some standards for how he wanted to live his life. People brought in the fact that his mother was a single mother. Not sure how he became responsible for her choices or decisions, but hey. And then they turned around and attacked his character or lack thereof. Now, I want you guys, under the sound of my voice, to imagine you leave UE college, wherever you are, with your degree at 22 years old, prepared to enter the workforce, but you are now responsible for the decisions that a 40-year-old woman made before you were even born, right? Think about that. Just really think about that and imagine how it works. And this brings us to my guy, Dr. Umar Johnson. Some of you guys are fans of Dr. Umar, or my guy Ramel. He said he finds Dr. Umar entertaining. Good night to you, Charmaine. Good to see you.
Charmaine, yeah, shout out Charmaine. Yeah.
To see Rihanna saying his body, his choice, most definitely. Right? And by the way, they tried to shame him all about the money you got, the car you drive and stuff like that. Gentlemen, just so you know, those are indicators of high value as well. Huh? don't worry, but earning money definitely is a thing, right? We're not saying that it weighs more than character, but shoot, a broke man with character don't get the women. Just putting it out there, right?
Not only that, but as the women just tell you, you can't carry in good character.
Don't get in messy.
Don't get in messy.
Some of you guys are fans of Dr. Umar, and me not so much. And I would have told you guys a few months ago that he's all right. You know, I mean, depending on what you're talking about, but he strikes me as a bit of a grifter who refuses to hold black women accountable. And as such, I find him to be a danger to black people more than a help. So let's watch a clip of him in his appearance on the Daily Wrap-Up Crew. This interview is doing numbers. Somebody put it in my basketball chat. But he was trying to cherry pick what Dr. Umar was saying. You know, one of these guys that, you know, believe men and shit, etc. And they didn't bother to respond. I just said he didn't know what I'll do with it here. Where you don't have to.
I hope he's watching.
Huh? I sincerely hope he's watching as well, so that he can.
Chances are he's not. Definitely know who you're talking about.
But he shared this. It was late in the night. I didn't bother to break up midnight rest without folly. But I had time today. Well, yesterday, when I started to prepare this, because Philip sent me this clip as well. He sent me clips of it, and he said, you know what, let's go to the entire interview, well, most of the interview, and extrapolate what I wanted to talk about tonight. So let's watch Dr. Umar in fine fettle.
Right. Shout out Lee. Hope you're doing well, my dear. All right, let's get it. 3, 2, 1.
Right? Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman can have sex whenever she wants. Right. Because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 20. Right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband, because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that? So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
There's obviously plenty of black men,
yes,
black women. So
and what I also tell black women, if
married,
you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us, though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work, or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that, and then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course you're going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us. We have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs
if
to
we
be
was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
You're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her.
No.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, my Dr. Umar got the pandering up to all. Can't be faster to get ahead tonight. Anyhow. So the black woman has held down the black house by herself for 50 years, he's saying. What Dr. Umar is not saying is that we see the results thereof. The results are and continue to be a preponderance of Pookies and Pookishas, masculine women and feminine emotional men who cannot build or lead their communities. But we continue doing it the same way, right? Can't build or lead, but all they do is destroy them through drugs and violence and over-sexualization en route to the prison system. And why am I talking about this? Even though this is a Caribbean podcast, because guess what? We see a lot of this stuff here in Barbados too. We have Ramel on our show, Ramel Miller, this is, on our show last year before whenever it was. And he spoke about the fact when he was a prison officer, there were a whole set of men in there having other single mother households. So we see results of the black woman holding down the house. I still ain't trying to do nothing wrong, nothing different, right? No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are Pookies in every community. Black, white, Asian, and otherwise.
Pookie Chad.
You cannot
Jose.
escape them. Yeah. So let me make that very clear. So that first point there that Dr. Umar made is abject nonsense. You cannot get rid Pookie like roaches. You can't get rid of Pookie. Shoot, Nick Cannon, for example, is a Pookie. All the money he got, he's a Pookie. Right? No. Dr. Umar is intimating that black women have a poor selection from which to choose. Let us assume that this is true for the moment. But then I gotta ask the question. If the selection is so poor, then why did only a few weeks ago did we show you a video of Sherry Shepherd going on Steve Harvey's show asking for random women to allow their husbands to help them out?
That's how low the selection is, Derek. That you got aunts women that married already.
I'm going to the prison system to get men, right? The best men in jail, because there's some other things to say too, right, Neil? Hold tight, man, because they hype tonight. Hold tight. Let me ask you a question, right? Do these good men only appear after these women have made their errors and life has become hard? That's what really happening here. That's what Dr. Umar trying to tell we. I tell them 3 young men that can ask these questions. Yeah? That's what Dr. Umar trying to tell me here tonight. No, these good men exist all along. They do exist, but too many of our women want to hide behind the catch-all. These men ain't shit. Choose poorly, be absolved of the consequences of their actions, and then be bailed out by an external party. Remember how the recession years ago, they talk about stimulus package? That's what these women want. Now, what is interesting to me is that the lady in the intro video that we watch at the very top of the show, and others like her are suddenly concerned with character of a man after they have made their poor choices. Men under the sound of my voice, do not encourage this foolishness and fuckery, because that is what this is. Do not encourage it. According to Dr. Umar, black men are solely responsible for the state of black communities. All right, I can take that point. We as black men, we do need to do more in terms of building and leading in our communities. And that is why we have the King's Gathering, as Neil have mentioned, on August 20th at the Ginger Lily Hall at the Bell Estates. Come on up to that. It's free. Come and avail yourself of the information. So we do need more to do more in terms of building our communities. I acknowledge that. But here's the thing. Black men have no authority over black women. They will tell you in no uncertain terms that they don't want no man, they don't need no man. I tell you last week that my predictive text. Strong, independent woman who don't need no man. That is all in my predictive text. And we know that submission is a curse word. So how is the black man supposed to lead the woman who doesn't want to be led? Oh, Dr. Umar, inquiring minds want to know. I've told you guys several times on this show, responsibility without authority is slavery. Do not volunteer for slavery by another name, gents. But Dr. Umar is not finished. Let's get another clip from Dr. Umar. There's more.
Let's get
Hit the like button.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get it in 3, 2, 1.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman,
So
brother.
you mean to tell me
a whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No,
That's what I have to look forward to?
But I'm telling you, mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am
and
not.
when I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad.
No, I
I mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking them to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with them every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be-all, end-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
Before you continue right there, I want to say something. I cannot stand when people have a debate or a discussion and the person that talk the loudest and speaks in such it speaks in syllables and enunciates like that, he somehow so all he's saying is a bunch of tripe there to me. But
now here's the thing, right? I'm glad you brought it up, Neil, because I wanted to address it before I said let me just keep it rolling, right? Let me just keep it rolling. Dr. Umar talks a lot. He speaks loudly, talks over other people in the conversation. And he kind of beats you down into acknowledging what he has to say. And I see Rihanna say she agrees with him to an extent. That's all the way, because that's how you get people. That's the
but enough flavor in to get them to come back to the restaurant before they good.
You got enough truth in it to keep you hooked. But you gotta kind of peel back the layers, right?
And not to cross you real quick, Derek, but just because you agree with part of the message does not necessarily mean you subscribe to the person's ideology. Let me get rid of that thinking, because we got this thing where we just throw the baby with the bathwater. For example, Donald Trump, his Bob, nothing he could ever say could ever make sense. Nothing at all he could ever say could ever make sense. Some people don't like Elon Musk. I mean, nothing that he said could never ever make sense. Shoot, he could tell you the sky is blue. You say, nah, he talking foolishness. He don't know what he talking about. Just because he's overarching ideology you don't agree with. But then when you come to somebody like Umar Johnson, because he says just enough that you agree with, or a part that you agree with, you always want to say, oh, you know, he making good points. That don't mean that his ideologies make sense, because anyhow, you're a platformer, brother. Get it?
Yeah. As Neil said, there's enough truth in it to keep you there, right? Because when it talks about black ownership, men doing more in the community and all that, I definitely agree. That black men definitely need to do more, build more, lead more. But the question will always be, what is a black woman's role in the saving of the community? Because to hear him tell it, they have no role.
No, men have to lead.
Irrespective of how they follow. Yeah? If I come to a rehearsal on a Monday or Wednesday night and say, you know what, I am going to be here, and the men don't turn up for this rehearsal, who are leading?
The crickets.
Who are leading? Who are teaching the music to? Yeah? Now, for all their vaunted intelligence and education, black women are the most educated and blah, 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 and all that. Yeah? It seems that black women do not have the ability to change and evolve or even learn from their disappointments and failures, according to Dr. Umar here. These women want to continue to ignore and be hostile to good black men. And we've already shown you that these men do exist, and these women know that they do exist. But Dr. Umar wants those men who were ignored and mistreated to come in like mighty bows. Here I come to save the day. Why? For the sake of the community. All right. But what Dr. Umar is choosing to ignore, because he's intelligent enough to know, so I'm not saying I'm not going to absolve him of that. He is choosing to ignore and just tell people foolishness when the night come, is that there can be no community without family. We are having all the problems we are having because we do not have we don't have strong family structures currently. So this all really good in theory, but we all know how this will end. You will be the one taking her children to school and providing for them. Well, Jim Screechy does nothing, but is still coming around to tenderize her stomach. How do we know this? Because they were bailed out and didn't have to change anything to get bailed out. So they won't change their behavior. They will continue to choose Pookie and Ray Ray. We say, Ruben, good men are boring. Pookie and Ray Ray are fun. And yeah, the scary part is people will take Dr. Umar seriously. So they will continue to choose the poorest and dysfunctional amongst men and then say all men is shit when the dysfunction ends in dysfunction. Where and what is your reward for bailing them out, gents? Ask yourself that. When we first started this channel, I told you guys, do not reward aberrant behavior. To reward aberrant behavior is to encourage it. If we as men adopt this Kadir approach, we will be aiding and abetting the very thing that is destroying the same communities that Dr. Umar says he wants to build. Dr. Umar is suggesting that black men who did things to ensure their own success and that of their families take their money, energy, attention, and time from their own families to provide for someone else's. Neil, I don't know about you, but I got one child.
Me too.
Right? And the running around I have to do with that one child, I cannot afford to be doing with anybody else's child. The people in the chat, you could bear me. You see Ruben in It was Sheraton the other day. Ruben got 2 sons from where, if you recall.
I think he got. I could be
Or
wrong
3.
here, Ruben. I think he got 3 children. I think,
Ruben with Father Abraham. You never know.
yeah,
Ruben got
but
6
but let's be
You
honest.
never
Ruben,
know.
Ruben has anyhow. Let me talk Ruben business. But yeah,
Yeah, don't we not talk about business.
yeah.
But those appearance in the chat, you can bear me out. The time and energy you have to put into your own and your money, you have to put into your own children. You cannot afford to be taking away from them. Not if you want yours to be successful, to go and deal with somebody else's. The reality is, if I am going to deal with yours, it means I have to leave out mine. And when I leave out mine and mine becomes a bane to society, people are going to turn and say, well, how it is that this body, he's a big teacher, his child is a nuisance to society. Because I could not give all of me to mine. Gentlemen, do not volunteer for slavery by another name. To the victor go the spoils. We as Black people do not seem to understand that life is for the successful. Let me keep it a stat. Life is for the successful. My man Silky said years ago, we live in a results-oriented world. We got Silky. But we seem to think that the successful amongst us are responsible for the advancement of the unsuccessful. This don't happen in no other community, folks. So we keep it real. When people achieve some kind of success, they make it very clear that they are successful by the people with whom they associate. We expect people, as we as Black people, this is no, because we want to be down. We got to remember where we come from. But the reality is, if you have a mindset geared towards growth and advancement, you cannot stay around Pookie and Riri. You have to get away. You need to get away because, as the old saying goes, one bad apple spoils the entire bunch. This is why when Steph Curry can talk about violence, gun violence, this and next and third, but then they talk about building the development, essentially a project behind his house. He was one of the first people to say, nah. Because guess what? When you work to get away, you want to get away to get forward and progress in life. You don't want to be associated with the things that are going to keep you down, that essentially going to spoil you, as the old people will say. Yeah. The problem here is that we as Black people seem to think that somebody should come along and save us. This is why those ladies in the first video will want to suggest that the young man is somehow connected to his mother's choices. He only connected to the struggle because I asked you, did she struggle? Yes. Did you struggle? As if she can struggle and not he. That means in house, they can struggle. Her struggles gonna be his struggles. So, and to Romel's point, Romel raised the point earlier. If his mother was a crack addict, that means he should want to be involved with a crack addict. Suppose she was a prostitute. Would the same apply? Yeah?
But it's different. But hold on, right? Also consider that because I have known single mothers that raise children, I admit in the bottom, when you got a daughter, whoever, make sure you cover on the marriage. If you got a son, try and take care of your children, try and be there for the child. So,
I don't know why we seem to think that this, I guess because, as he said, 2/3 are single mothers. We don't want to call out this shit, right? But the only way we can grow, we gotta tell you the truth, right? And Dr. Umar seems to think that, you know, those of us who are advancing should always be trying to pull along those who refuse to advance, because a lot of times it's choices that these people make. Ladies and gents, Dr. Umar, nobody is coming to save us as Black people. We have to be responsible for changing our own set of circumstances. The consequences of those decisions, and their decisions, rest squarely on the shoulders of the lovely ladies who made them. Unfortunately, if and when they crumble under the weight of those consequences, it becomes a matter for the community as a whole. That is the real problem there. Gentlemen, we have a duty to build and lead our communities, and we need to recognize and appreciate that fact. We need to work together and become producers in our respective areas, not just consumers, but producers. Having said that, it is not in our best interest as a community to become a safe house for women who act irresponsibly. It's not in our best interest. If we continue to encourage that, we will get more of it. Dr. Umar said women held down the community for 50 years. But then he turned and he said, to hold them accountable is insensitive and disingenuous. So who are we to hold accountable then? If you are the one in charge of it and it runs to shit, it should be on you, not so. And women love to tell us that they're the backbone of the Black community, not so. Yeah, not so. But hey, women want the authority of men, the privilege of being a woman, and the accountability of children. Do not volunteer, gentlemen, for slavery by another name.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are indeed watching the Senate podcast. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit notification bell. We do content for you 5 days a week, usually. We usually do 3 shorts. Those are short and bits of content. And then, of course, we have the long form content like we have here, the non-dipsy doodle space. So like, comment, share, subscribe, hit notification bell so you don't miss anything. Like the content, share the content so we could build the content. Dr. Carry on. Now, you are in a unique position here, seeing as you are a Black woman, you are a Black Caribbean woman, and you are a Black single Caribbean woman, and you are not a mother, right? You have obviously dated a lot. I am sure in your dating history, you would have dated Napuki and Puquavius.
In these streets.
No.
Right? But no, in all seriousness though, because we joke a lot about the Puki and Puquavius and Ray Ray, right? But really and truly, it is men that are not capable or not in their masculine or whatever you want to say, like men that are not where they need to be in order to be in a position to provide as they should for a relationship. And you've certainly dated some of those men that, did not live up to that billing. Not any fault to them or anything there. But let me ask you, do you, one, see it as Black men's fault that there are a lot of, we are solely to blame, or the majority to blame is on us for what we are seeing in the Black community with the man-woman dynamic, the raising of single children, divorce rate, single rates, all those things. And what I see Ruben saying, "Oh Lord, what do you do?"
Calling up my business.
Your introduction to Dr. Carey.
Trying to call up my business.
She said she was in the streets.
No.
I would never say that. I would never say that. No, that was not my intent. My intent was, she's dated,
but it was hilarious nonetheless.
It was hilarious.
Oh, sorry. That was not my intent. That was funny and I didn't know it. But no, seriously, Dr. Carey, do you think it's our fault, one? And two, how do you think that Black women should bear some of the responsibility and accountability with where we are in the situation? Are they totally absolved of what's going
on? Okay, so no, it is not just solely on Black men. I do not believe that the state of Black women today is because of the behaviors of Black men. I do not agree with that. And it's interesting that Dr. Umar puts it that way, considering that he is a clinical psychologist as well as I believe a school education psychologist, something along those lines. So he has a significant level of training and learning in the space of social psychology on a whole. And I find that the angle that he's looking at this from is so very separate and apart from the larger story of us as Black people, right? A lot of people do not want to acknowledge the significant conditioning and breaking of identity and culture that took place during the slave trade, right? A lot of people continue to neglect the conditioning and the kind of altered resilience that has happened in our community to, kind of bounce back from slavery, right? That lends to the ways in which we operate as men and women in the Black community today. So I do not agree that it is all on Black men at all. It is a systemic and systematic conditioning. And because of how we have had to navigate particular societies and particular communities and things of that nature and systems, we've become so altered and so distant from our heritage, our true natures, our true authentic identities, that we now have the situations that we have, right? So that's my long answer as to why I say no, it is not just on just Black men at all. Also, no. Well, I do not believe that Black women are absolved of all responsibility. I keep saying this, I said this earlier in another conversation around men and women dynamics, that a bird cannot fly on one wing. It will never happen, right? The physics of it is just not gonna happen, right? It is not the will of the universe for a bird to fly safely and comfortably on one wing. Meaning there has to be the balance. Whether we say it is up and down, back and front, top and bottom, man and woman, Black and white, there are balances to the ways in which we live, grow, navigate, all these things. So women cannot be completely absolved of responsibility for the state of affairs as they are now. And I find it unfortunate that Dr. Umar's stance is taking on this approach for Black women, like, oh, woe is me, right? I've been doing this for so long and nobody has validated me, nobody has supported me, all of that. And so therefore, I'm not going to pay attention to your authority or your leadership. I think that is a very unfortunate stance to take if we're talking about formulating healthy communities and actually progressing, right? I think everybody needs to, well, you guys know, my belief is that everybody needs to be held accountable for the choices that we make. And whether you consciously make a decision or not, you're still making a choice, right? So as folks in the comments are saying, women who decide to have children, who choose to have children with certain men, they cannot be absolved of that choice. You literally decided to do that. You chose that. So now that you're out here like Sherry Shepherd saying, can I borrow somebody else's man to help me raise these 3, 4, 5 kids from 5 different men? I'm finding that wild. That I could never imagine myself going to a girlfriend of mine and saying, I have all these 4 kids. Girl, can I borrow your husband? What?
Let me for 2 weeks, man. Let me straighten out.
Let him for 2 weeks?
Every other Tuesday.
I cannot understand. And I mean, that is putting it loosely and in a comical space. But that's really what you're kind of really saying, is that if I were a single mother who has made the choice to have however many children, 1 to 6 to 8, whatever, right? That now I need to correct my so-called error by asking somebody else to loan me their high value man, the man who is walking in discipline and integrity and good character that I didn't discern to find for myself. That's absolute foolishness. It's absolute foolishness. And the idea that he's spinning about the notion of Black men, now when you see a Black woman who is struggling, right, with however many children, that you should now step up to the plate and say, let me be your child's big brother or uncle or whatever, is a very interesting and twisted way to say the village needs to come back together.
Yeah.
Yo.
Gonna be the dad that stepped up.
Get him, Dr.
It's
Carey.
a very interesting way to say that what we need to now work on is to bring back our cultural norms of the village raising children and families. You see, we stop short when we say the village raises children. It's children and families that the village raises, right? So his comment about these young men or whoever he's referring to must now acknowledge these women when they see them and say, well, let me help you with your child. They can call me Uncle Kevin, Uncle Taquan, Uncle what? And like Derek is saying, if I, as a man, put myself in that place, right? I am taking on a responsibility. And at no point do I have the authority to then correct this child's behavior, say to the mother of the child, actually, no, I cannot do that for you, or I cannot pay for that. That is further detriment to our communities. If there is responsibility being taken, but I have no place in authority, then how can I be that true masculine? Remember, the true masculine is structure, routine, discipline, into all those things. And if a man cannot fully exercise the spectrum of those aspects of his identity, then what is the point of you calling on me? What is the point of you calling on me as a man? So I find so many pieces of his argument like half truths, not delving. Yeah.
Not delving into it.
Not delving into it. So yeah,
so-
I can't deal with all of that.
All right. So first things first, I have to acknowledge there are love when you're in these spaces, because a lot of times you like to trigger, and a lot of times you like to sit back and laugh. But it is good to see that you got that fire under you, and you just like any one of us. You get triggered like anybody else.
Yeah, man. This one was it was too much hogwash, man. And as Dr. Carey said, the half truths. Right. So when you hear them in a vacuum, you gravitate towards them. And then there's the other stuff is to kind of spread.
All right, so I can give my commentary here.
The essence of true toxicity there. So
yeah, yes.
Good, right? Because here's my take on this, right? Now, I think that how should I start this? I should start it by saying that you cannot blame any one gender in the Black community for this repair, the uncoupling of couples and the breaking up of families without talking about the overarching thing about systems that were put in place to incentivize that and to, dare I say, and maybe we could get into conspiracy theories or whatever, right? But there were some things that were put in place, especially in the Jim Crow era, after slavery, etc., where there were incentives to have single mothers in the household. There was a interview in 1983, I think it was 84, early 80s, where they asked a bunch of women, late teens, early 20s. They asked them, do you need a man? I said, no, we don't want a man because, I could raise a child. I could get a child. I could go about, get welfare. I get money. I could get my job. That was 1984. Right? What I think is amazing to me about Dr. Umar Johnson, amazing, is that he has branded himself as this woke Blacktivist, right? That can speak on all things of the Black community, and he strives to repair, to wake up Black America and the Black people in the West to understand where they came from and where they need to go, right? That's why it is so interesting to me that rhetoric like this is so dangerous coming from him. If I were a Blacktivist, I wouldn't be talking about is any one Black person problem or any subset of Black people problem. I'd be looking for solutions. I would acknowledge that there is a problem, right? If you really ask me a question or you want to have a discussion as to who is really at fault, you have to take it objectively. But you really think, right? If men were really the reason why black women, according to him, they got poor selection out there. They got poor options out there. So the women choosing what they got to choose, right? And they're procreating, they're having children, and then going on and on and on. Then beat dads. He mentioned the grape, he mentioned the essay, he mentioned the abuse, he mentioned all these things, right? But I posit to you this, ladies and gentlemen, right? If you choose Chinese food, this is going to be a funny analogy, but stick with me. If I choose a subset, if I choose a food and burn my belly once, I would say, yo, I better not go back there. I go back there again, burn my belly again. I go out there and burn my belly again. What would I do? I would either go to some other place that sell that kind of food or change food altogether. Right? This is 50 years black women have held down men. I'm not going into the centuries of black men taking care of women or anything like that. I'm not going into anything like that. I'm not going to true order, natural order things. What I would say is, okay, for the last 50 years, women have taken, the black men in the home. We gotta step up. We gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta make it work. Fine. Fair enough. Black men ain't got the shit together. Right? But because you have decided to essentially self-soothe yourself or to kind of jerry-rig your own solution to a problem, you can't blame the you gotta heal from it. You gotta do your own due diligence to come back from it. Okay, so let's say, God forbid, my house burned down. My house burned down. So I now have to find a dwelling to live. I scotching here and there on somebody's couch. I live in on the streets. I scotching here and there, scotching here and there, scotching here and there. But then now, come the show now, I vex at the light and power call. My house burned down, the fire department, because they may come in a quick manner. No. And because you've made decisions, right, to survive, does not mean that those decisions were necessarily in the benefit of the overall community. It may have benefited you in the moment, but it did not benefit the entire community. And I'm not saying that you should be making decisions for the entire community faced with insurmountable odds or adversity. I ain't saying that you gotta be there saying, shh, it's either me or the black community. Let me choose the black community. I ain't saying that. I ain't gonna tell you that. But by the same token, you made a choice. I ain't saying that you made a choice you deserve to be great or you abusive. I'm not saying anything like that. Of course not. But to sit here and say that black men are solely responsible for the degradation of the black family to this point, it's absurd. That's number one. Number two, right? Let's go on that side that is black men fault. Black men, we got some work to do. We say so every week. Black men, we got work to do. If it ain't nothing you take away from this channel, is that we just always say you got to be best version of you for you. At the end of every live stream, Derek says it. Be the best version of you for you. We want black men to be better, to choose better, to make better decisions for themselves, for their families, their friends, and their community. We don't make any qualms about that. We don't encourage or we don't empower any foolish or toxic behaviors. But having said that black men got a lot of work to do, right? I think it is strange that you decide, okay, black men ain't leading, black men ain't got the shit together. To hear Umar Johnson tell it, they did not have any choices. They got Puquavius, Uki, and Ray Ray. They got nothing out there but them. Why when having children for these men then? Why when they're doing them with the due diligence to get with these men? Why
the worst of us, you want to reproduce.
But hold on, but Derek going on his argument now. Let's say that all of us are no good. Let's say every 8 out of 10 men in the black community are no good. Right? Why you gotta breed for them? Why you gotta make families for them? That's like jumping off a cliff, right? Breaking your foot and vex at the people that tell you that you could jump off the cliff and survive.
You know why it happens though? Because I didn't know he was this bad until after I had the baby.
No problem, Dr. Kerry.
Women are race loyal.
Dr.
They do what they have to do for the community.
Dr. Kerry, you know what? You're all right. There are some men out there, You get with the man talk about family, everything, but the man really just want your guts, right? The man get your stomach, you got a child, the bail and disappear. I actually know of a situation where that happened. I know there's somebody, I know a friend of mine, and that has happened to that person, right? So it happens. It happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you think that that person will go on, the next man she choose, or that choose her, you think she ain't gonna go about it in a totally different manner?
Not all women. You guys had a video of that woman.
Hold on a minute. I know not all women, right? I know not all women, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that there's so many sayings. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We ain't talking about. We are not talking about the one woman that had a bad experience, got a one child, and you're not talking about that, you know.
I'm not talking about that either. I'm talking about
I know.
women who have the bad experience and keep having the bad experiences and keep producing children for each experience.
But that it is amazing. It is fascinating to me, right? It's fascinating me. If a woman, a woman selects a man, I love you, I want you. Man say, yes, baby, I love you, I want you. We can make things right. You become pregnant, the man disappear. Poof, gone. You are now faced with raising a child by yourself and making ends meet and making it work. That's one man. Men ain't shit. Men responsible. Me and Derek responsible for the ills of the black community.
Mm-hmm.
Derek and myself, right? And we actually say this a lot whenever Derek and we speak, right? In our circle of men, we ain't got that sort of men around, you know. The men we associate with are men of integrity, meaning that if the man get involved with a woman, let's say it was just a hit and quit, and a child come from there, the man can say, child boy, I get catching slips. Anyhow, the woman is a goat, but I can do right by she. You understand what I mean? We got friends, right? We have friends, right? That are in situations that don't even got nothing to do with them, but they still are willing to try to make it work because they feel an obligation or responsibility toward it, right? And it amazes me that the first thing people do, and I get it, because some may accuse us of doing that, looking at the worst of our community and talking about that. I get it. Shoot, I get why Derek Jackson and his men do it, because there's big money in it. As a matter of fact, me and Derek is always saying, the day we start the same, we go out there and say, women, you could do better. Me make $1. But I am tired of the foolishness of black men are solely responsible for the degradation of the black community. I am tired of it. You know why? Because there was a period of time, particularly in Black America, when we had one of the highest, if not the highest, marriage rate and the lowest divorce rate. Our families were staying together, right? But then all of a sudden, one day, the black man just decide, hey, yo, deuces, I'm gone. You think things is happening in a vacuum like that? You think that through slavery, we came from over in a way in Africa to bring me over in a boat, right? They treat us terribly. They literally treat us like animals, where we were breeders. They split up our families and did all of these atrocious things. Then we became free. And then our families, our black families, stayed together. We remained married, right? Sure, I ain't telling you that every marriage was perfect, but we stayed together, right? Divorce rates were low, right? You think one day the black man just decide, hey, yo, or maybe it's one day the black woman say, you know what, these black men ain't shit. Are you putting up with this here? We could go out and make a wage. We ain't gonna put up with this bullshit. But that's putting accountability on the women in it. That's putting responsibility upon the women. We gotta come to some sort of understanding here, right? We have always said, Derek and myself, that men ain't the fault, women ain't the fault. We both got blood on our hands. We both are responsible for the BS we do. A lot of people earlier, when we started this channel, a lot of people were saying, oh, y'all always bashing the women and you always showcasing, why y'all don't showcase the men and bring balance. The reason why we don't do that is because the internet, mainstream media, everything are there for the men. The other day, a man come up in the view or whatever it was that Aisha Curry was on, he be about serving drinks. Name me a man.
Don't talk about that. No, don't talk about that. No, we ain't talking about that. So, I don't want to talk about that tonight. But Dr. Umar preempt me, right? So,
but sure, but
we talk about that.
The point remains is that mainstream empowering women. I don't want to say bashing men. Empowering women is big bucks. Why? Because women
call the thing a thing. Call the thing a thing.
No. Good faith, dog.
Men.
No. Call the thing a thing.
But here's my thing, right? We don't. Of course, if we were to go in the streets, we could bring equal jump of men and women doing jump shoot every now and then. Is be so wild that we bring the men too, right? But the reason why we showcase the women is to show that there's a level of accountability on both sides. We are two black men that talk every week about being the best version of you for you, and men need to be held accountable and responsible for what they do. Also saying that women need to hold themselves accountable and responsible for the decision makers on what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just get tell we bashing women. We just get tell we don't bring parity or unbiased, balanced information. But then they're gonna look at.
It's never going to be acceptable for a man to tell a woman that she needs to be responsible.
But okay, and I understand. But here's the thing. I'm glad you bring that up, Dr. Carey. I agree with you. Men are held to such a standard and account because we are the leaders of a society. We are the leaders of a family. What I find particularly interesting is that we are under heavy scrutiny because of that leadership and because of our role and status. But then they are told that men should not be leaders. You cannot exercise the leadership. And we be toxic masculinity when we do the leadership. The man get the TV just now. And he said, I don't want single mother. Right?
Yeah, and completely get slaughtered.
Right?
Yeah.
My mother get bringing it. I'm bringing mother. You're not single. Where's the single mother?
His point is so, and I don't want us to get that to lose his point. His point is absolutely valid. What happens in men making those types of points is that women then take offense, right?
Because they don't qualify.
Right, because
exactly.
When we don't qualify, we get into a space of defense, right? Like, how dare you say that about me? He is telling you about himself, actually, that what he fears is repeating a cycle of struggle, right? That is what he's saying.
He said that.
He said that. He said that he didn't want the whole struggle that his mother had to go through and subsequently that he had to go through because of that whole entire experience. But when men, I say it all the time, when men have standards and actually communicate their standards, they are immediately shot down because it is not socially acceptable for men to communicate their standards.
But why?
And that is a problem.
But let's get into it now, because I think this is a good time to do that. Why is it okay for women can tell men what to do? They can complain, say, yeah, well, y'all ain't leading, y'all ain't shit, y'all ain't leading nothing, y'all ain't look good. Y'all taking power for yourself. Y'all are overall on the bane of existence for human society, right? They could tell you what to do. They could tell us that our leadership ain't shit. They can bash us whenever they want. They can objectify us whenever they want. They can shame us whenever they want, right? Under the guise of preference and standards, right? But it is not, as you say, trendy or fashionable. It's not societally accepted because women are seen as the fairer sex or the weaker sex, right? Fair enough. Men and women are not the same. We could take it on the chin. We could tell we fat. You know what I'm saying? We could tell that we part small. We could tell we ain't got no money or whatever. But we can't say anything to women. What I want to ask y'all, right, is if our leadership ain't shit, if we are to be criticized and ostracized as many parts and times as possible because of our leadership, but we can't tell women not a damn thing about anything. Because to hear them ain't leading because of patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they are free to lead whenever they want. And
Mm-hmm.
even would cite that it is better for society when women lead. Right? When women lead, we can't say nothing about their leadership. You are a single mother running your household. We say not necessarily the best situation for raising the children and having a family.
No.
All of a sudden now is, so you're trying to say I should have my choices are poor. When are women going to be held account for the choices that they have made? If you have made a choice to sleep with a man unprotected, and you have a child with that man, and the man ain't a good, the man is a dud, the man is whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you make the best of a situation, right? And you tell your son, yo, brother mine, if you get a woman pregnant, you gotta got your ducks in a row. Shoot, my mother used to tell me, don't feel that you're gonna be going to school, get a woman pregnant, and I can take care of she. Are working for me, you, she, and he, everybody. If you get a woman pregnant, you're gonna get a job. You're supporting your child. You're being there. You're putting certain things in place. You understand what I mean? My mother made it clear. Her role is grandmother. So get your life in order. And don't bring a lot of children in here. Shoot. My mother used to tell me, Derek could tell me if I lie. My mother used to tell me, you can't bring you can't bring a woman every other night in this house.
It is a brothel.
In a brothel. Who? My mother used to tell me that. My mother used to tell me, air tune, right? Who's that here? I saw it. That is Kathy Ann. 2 weeks later, who's this? Samantha. My mother used to say, hold on, brother. What happened to Kathy Ann? Because at the end of the day, my mother knows what is a structure and discipline for a man. More importantly, for a functioning adult. And what makes sense.
Right.
So me being a future that got 8 children from 7 women ain't conducive to raising healthy relationships and dynamics with the children. I'm paying for them and everything like that. So I say all of that to say, right? Rihanna said she witnessed it first hand. I say all that to say, you know, I get it. In the moment, and shoot, you don't want that for your daughters either, women. You don't want your daughter to go there, pick up a man you know that ain't a good. Your man pull up on a bike, like, a big scrambler, tattoos all over, grilling him out, hair dread matted up.
Such profiling.
Cursing and carrying on. No. Hold on. I know. Sorry, Dr. Carey, forgot that. This hits close to home for you.
So profile. So.
Right? But in all seriousness, right? When we talk about Pookie and Pooquavius, right? And we talk about men that ain't shit, there's an image that comes to our mind. So if we can get on this rabbit hole and talk things, right? So when that man pull up, bring scrambler, and he pants all below his ass cheek, right? And he got on pants that so tight it drawing blood. Gone $300, $400 Jordans, big gold and grill and everything like that. He come, yo, mama, carpet, mama, Herman, Catherine. You gonna be like, brother, mom, you come here to do? So, I mean, that's an exaggerated point, but the point remains is that if you are not going to allow that, if you're going to not allow that for your children, right?
Right.
What you going to allow that for? What you going to allow that for yourself? You making the decision. I ain't saying the man going to look like that or behave like that or whatever, but have you done your due diligence and your vetting?
Sexual kind.
The sexual.
No, with that wrong. No. Right? Yes, Aston, we have established that stability is boring. Pookie is not boring. But you know what? When I don't want boring. But then when I want boring. For stability. And I
still want Pookie tenderies in your gut space, so
right? You would rather, right? You would rather because there is something to be said for the dating process. And they said in the black community, we do not have a dating process, right? Do you know a man's intention oh, but he tell me he want to get married and he love me. I ain't talking about, man, look, we're not talking about when I land down the night and you say, man, look, you will marry me?
Coitus.
Right? You will marry me? You love me? Man, yeah, I love you, you know. Man, you're a nice girl, you know. One of these days I can make it. I ain't talking about that. I am talking about, my name is Neil or Denisha or whatever. This is my name. I am interested in you or whatever. What were you looking for? Were you hoping for? If the man say you're looking for something serious and this and that and next, then you ask him as the dates go on and everything like that, how do we move into that space of living together, moving together, whatever? There's another person I know, right? That is be talking to a lot of people, a lot of women, right? And there are some women out there that broke up with their boyfriends simply because their words are not matching up with their actions.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
You understand? It could be, yeah, you want to marry, you want to be together, you want to live the life together, whatever, but you're trying to move into a space together, you kind of dipsy doodling on. The proposing a marriage is 5-6 years going on, and then a movement here, so in the water for the last 3-4 years, right? There's a saying that goes out around the place: marry before you carry. Marry before you carry. People have a problem with that saying. Oh, but shoot, the woman last week we had on a live stream once here, she don't want to get married. She don't want to be the boy wife. She want to be a mom. So we don't have to empower what you want. We don't have to empower. We don't have to, because everybody's desires are now validated, regardless of how anybody thinks that they're silly. I don't understand what is wrong with marry before you carry. Did I marry before I carry? No, I did not. Derek, did you marry before you carry? No, you did not. I'm there, and I would readily admit that if we were to do it all over again, I have the same children, we would marry. That is a failure of mine. I don't know how Derek feel about it, but that's a failure of mine.
Yeah, I've admitted that here on this show before, but that's when you get caught up in believing. Because if I knew the things I know now, if I known them back then, I certainly would have done things a lot differently. But you get caught up in this whole rhetoric of co-parenting. Cause it sounds cool, co-parenting, you don't need a man, that kind of thing. And it's easy to get caught up in that. I never just said that on last week live stream, that it's easy to get caught up in that stuff. That's why we're trying to kind of, pull away, strip away some of the cobwebs and let people see things a bit more clearly so they can understand what it is we're really doing, as opposed to it's not just us as individuals. And Dr. Umar in that interview was saying to those young men, you're thinking individualistically. Yeah, I gotta think individualistically because I gotta deal with me first and my family, and then from family we can go to community. I can't start thinking about the community first. I say you can't afford for an ticket.
You got a hungry child. You got $100, right? The community want new books. You got $100.
Free the community. Free the community. That's automatic.
You can buy the books and then you child starving, then you out to Porto or whatever. And there are other ways and means to benefit a community. Look, I'm just saying, right? And I can transition to the other part of what I wanted to discuss. No, I don't like to just rant and rave and call it a problem. Solutions is way both. Yes, we identify the problem. I don't have a problem with that. But what's the solution part of it now? How do we put the genie back in the bottle, or how do we now move forward as a community, right? And you know what? Yes, it's going to have to start with men, but we're going to need some help from the women. Let me explain, right? Men, y'all know our rhetoric. Be the best version of you for you. Get in the gym, be on your purpose, make sure you're mentally, physically, and emotionally healthy, whole. Make sure that you're in a position where you can step into your feminine and lead your life as you see fit. Okay, you can't lead nobody else if you ain't got some sort of routine and consistency in your life and some sort of leadership in your life before you take on the responsibility of women and children and household and whatever. Are you leading in your life? Are you educated enough? Have you learned a skill? What are you rounded as an individual? Can you speak? What is your health like? Make sure you are leading. Leadership is not coming into a room and saying this is what we're doing today. That's not leadership. Leadership is not coming in a room and saying, Dr. Carry-On, today we are doing X. Get to it. That's not leadership. That's leadership is taking care of the responsibilities you have, identifying the problems that need to be done or the challenges, and through a graceful way communicating that to the people around you. Right? Derek and I, we lead in different ways in this podcast. Derek has never ever told me, Neil, this is what we're doing today. No. I have never told Derek, this is what we gotta get done today, or this is what we. No. We just get shit done. Because we understand rules. And we understand Derek's better at some things, I am better at some other things. Let's apply this to a man and woman. Right? If you know that you as a woman, you are better at cooking than I am as a man, then you will lead in that place. You will say, dear, I need X amount of groceries to do Y meal tonight. The man would then say, you know what? I will take it upon myself to go to the grocery, pick up those things that she wants, bring it home for her to fix this meal. She has
that you
fixed
will
it.
also be eating. Let's just be clear. There's balance.
Right? So this whole notion of man can come home and them days of the man coming home and say, what? But dinner ain't on the table yet, we're getting on here. Them days gone, ladies and gentlemen. Those days are gone. And if any man comes with that rhetoric today, is likely to get a pot spoon in the nose. That does not happen to the clip that it used to happen at. I don't say it don't happen in the Western world. I'm saying that the chance of that happening and it being successful for all parties involved is not as high as you think. Right? So, we men have to get back to a place of masculinity, charting and controlling our lives, and then being in a space to feel comfortable to take on the responsibilities of a woman, of a wife, of a girlfriend, and children. Because there's one thing to say about leadership, but can you lead effectively? Can you communicate your leadership? How is your leadership style like? Mm-hmm. How do you communicate? How you lead? Mm-hmm. My mother was a manager for many years at McInerney. This is a woman, right? And my mother has such a unique way of managing people and leading. She doesn't give orders, you know, but she brings it over in a way that you are willing to go and do it for her regardless. My mother ain't gonna come and say, man, look, come on, clean up this head. And say, man, look, do me a favor, man. You could super that. Boom, 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 boom. It really mean a lot to me. And you talk on the person. Yeah, the person under you, but you talk on the person going to sweep it up, and that's fine. She has led the dust move, so the upper management saying, yeah, the place clean. Right? My mother has gotten the worker to do what she wanted. The worker has done it feeling good that I've contributed to the team. Everybody happy, everybody wins. But everybody operating on this bad faith thing that a man kick open the door and say, look, I want chicken and sex. That what? You tell me no? That is not leadership. We have condemned that behavior so many times on this channel. So that's what men need to get back to a space of controlling and leading and being the forefront of masculine in their life. And then taking on the responsibilities as it comes. Now, women.
Hold on, before you move to women, the leadership styles are important for me, both personally and professionally. And it is important for, I think, now the modern man, right? Because it is very different compared to when our fathers were leading, for instance, right? And the difference is that there are opportunities now and resources to access greater levels of information compared to when our fathers were leading households. So meaning when you are in your situations with whomever you're in partnership with as a man, right? There are questions that you should be asking. There's a humility to leadership that now needs to be taken on, right? Because if we're moving, we have, for the most part, moved away from the authoritarian dictatorship type of style to a lot more of a compassionate and informed, nuanced angle, given how things are now and the levels of empowerment that genders have and all this kind of stuff, Tete. But ultimately, I honestly believe that men in leadership spaces now in their relationships need to do their level of due diligence in communicating and asking questions around what is leadership to the person they're in partnership with. If someone cannot, if that person cannot answer you and say, well, leadership is this, this, and this to me, and it looks like this, this, and this to me, and it feels like this, this, and this to me, then you need to pump the brakes, right? And a lot of people get into relationships and even marriages not understanding what leadership feels like, looks like, and sounds like for them, and getting involved with someone who either has no concept of how to lead or is still leading from a very ill-informed space. So I want to mention that for men, that men must ask questions. You have to ask questions. If you guys are in a space of dating right now, ask the goddamn questions. If you are married, ask the goddamn questions and find out what shift needs to be taken in your marriage, right? Ask the wife, do you like how I lead? If she can't even understand what you're asking, I need to know. So please find someone to help mediate that conversation, right? Because that is part and parcel as to why we have so many levels of dysfunction and resentment in our relationships towards each other nowadays, because we're not asking some of those very critical questions. So I need men to ask those questions and to observe how your person is responding.
Right.
Sure.
And then good. That's a very good segue to where I was going to go with the women, right? Because men, the setup I did just now, and Dr. Carey kind of bridged it for me. Men have to put out the leadership energy. They have to put out the masculine energy that women want. No, the modern woman has to be in a space to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be in a space to say, okay, I have done this masculine thing for a little while, my pseudo-masculine, my full masculinity, and it has served me, but it's not what I want to be. I am now ready to relinquish control. I am now ready to say, okay, I want a man to be in a masculine, and I want that man to lead, not necessarily how I have led, but how he can lead. Because I think some women get into that trap of saying, yes, I want a man, but why the man don't take care of my car like how I take care of my car? Why my man don't cook the way I cook? Why my man don't pay bills how I just, you know what I mean? Like why my man doesn't do things like how I did when I was leading my life. And that is not fair because you are not a man. So you cannot know, in your having been in your masculine energy, no, expect a man to lead as you did in your masculine energy when you were never a man or never fully masculine, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think that we need to understand to women, sure, men ain't no good. Choose better. The got men out there, it might be hard to look. I ain't gonna tell me now that the man walking boat, you know. I tell you that the man next door, I tell you the man down the street or whatever, but you have to, one, be open-minded. Two, you have to be willing to have that man and that energy around you, and you have to receive that energy, right? Because at the end of the day, and again, if a man brings a leadership style to you, if a man or you have said what leadership you want, or he has said what kind of leadership he provides, and y'all can agree on that, like kind of leadership don't work for you, walk away.
Yeah.
Let me say, well, thanks for your memories, no hard feelings, let me go from that. But certainly don't do it with a baby in the middle of that, in that year. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It is hard work. There is intent to it. And we do not have the luxury of other races that came from stable families that understood what the nuclear family should look like. So that when they...
I'm gonna pause there. Not all races come from a stable background. So
all right.
caution on that part.
I understand where all came from, right? But when we look at other races, when we look at the Caucasians, right? Look at white people, right? There's good colleges looking for husbands.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they're coming from a stable background.
I am not necessarily. Hold on, Dr. Kerry. What I'm saying is, what is the rhetoric for black people? Single mothers, men and shit, instability.
So the reason why I'm pushing back on you on this is because I honestly do not want us to be comparing to other ethnicities or cultures to say that the way that another ethnicity or culture goes about marriage or sex or having children is better than.
No.
You're borderline on that, and that's why I'm going to push against that, because it is a very, very tricky thing, given the psychology of where we are as Black people, right? To now bring in Caucasian and say that because they have a conditioning or a mindset of marrying early and having families early and having that structure early, it's better than what has been carried out in our community. There are two different things going on, different systemic pressures. You have to account for different norms and standards. So I'm pushing on that because you're running a very fine line that can become very dangerous and perpetuate certain things in our community that have been toxic for us.
But still, the point I was trying to make is to be open-minded. That's the point I was trying to make.
Say that, but just be cautious of how you are drawing comparisons.
Well, where's Zumada? I should have said
racial
that.
groups. Yeah.
Right. But
we come from a society of being colonized. And there are many people out here still walking underneath that colonized mindset, believing that that is what they're supposed to adhere to. It is not. That is not our authentic identity. And I will continuously push back on that as people from the Caribbean, because that walking in that type of mindset, where has it gotten us? We have so-called independent nations that are not actually independent.
I think the more important question is, what are the results of what we are doing?
Right.
As opposed to, because I too don't really dig the Caucasian Latino comparisons, because in the immortal words of Chris Rock, you can't just say, them fucked up, so we could be fucked up. That's ignorant, right? But I think we need to look at the results of what we've been doing.
Correct.
And when we look at the results of what we've been doing, we can tell it ain't working. For what we doing ain't working, right? What we doing is not working, so we need to do something else.
That is authentic to us. That is truly authentic to us. That is my thing.
But the question is, what is truly authentic to us? What is our authenticity in that space?
We come from societies of great education, great structure and discipline. We come from societies that are rich in family legacy, right? When you study our diaspora, our history as African descendants, we are coming from spaces that are very, very rich in the ways in which we value morals, right? And the way that we have structured routines and systems for our continued heritage and discipline and learning and all of that. We come from that, right? That is what has been continuously stripped from us and has led us to this level of dysfunction and corruption at this point. I am not saying that we don't have things in our history that are kind of like, why does one man need 10 wives? Right? We have that too. But there was even structure in that, and discipline in that, and certain values that were taught in that. So I just don't want us to, which is why I don't agree with the half-assed truths of Dr. Umar, because he is leaving out a very significant component of our history that has been corrupted, that has now led us to be functioning in the ways that we're functioning, and levels of distrust between us as men and women.
So the point I was trying to make, right, and I use other races, is that I agree with everything you just said. My question is, I'm coming from the standpoint of how do we get back there? Because the average person ain't thinking and so. We walk about talking about kings and queens and empowerment and all this say and black identity and black culture, but we still get on and Puquavius and men that ain't shit, and we still messing with women that ain't shit, and we still doing things that are considered not within our ancestry, right?
So you don't go back. You can never go back.
You can never go back.
Look back and understand how things were framed, how things were taught, things, how values were established, and take from that to create modern or revamped or overhauled cultural approaches for now, right?
But that
because
sounds
you can't do the exact same things as 100, 200 years ago.
That sounds good in a vacuum, but how do you get a man that say he don't know in a project to buy into that, to see that? How do you get that done?
This is how we get it done. We stop talking about the worst of us.
And you model,
We stop dealing with the worst of us.
The worst of us. You have to model.
Which is what the guys on Daily Wrap-Up Crew seem to be kind of trying to get to Dr. Umar to understand, but he's not. And Dr. Umar mentioned it.
He ain't budging up that hill.
In there he said, the dentist is not, black men have left the community. Yeah, they've left the community because they ain't there to do it anymore. They're mixing with certain things, and they said it in the monologue. When you got a certain mindset, you cannot deal with Pookie and Rere, Puquavius, Pukisha. You can't. You got to get away from that. That's the only way you can progress. And as Dr. Umar suggested now to go back and say, "Oh, I'm your big brother, let me help you," is a retrograde step because you are aiding and abetting. The only way to go forward, you have to leave the stragglers behind. Simple.
But here's the thing. But hold on now. Again, I won't be very clear. I'm not being a Debbie Downer. I am not trying to put obstacles in the way. What I'm saying is that how I see it is that I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what Dr. Kerry is saying, right? We got to do things like start empowering people like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. Those sorts of people that glamorize the worst of us, right? But the unfortunate thing about it is these things make money.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And in a market like the United States, where the majority of people are not consumers of that content, right? The consumers of that content are the people that control the media, are not us, right? It is very hard to control that narrative. So it's going to have to start in the communities, and it's going to have to start with, as I said, men kind of taking lead and being masculine and controlling certain things that they can control in their community. But what I'm saying is women also too have to be in a space to receive that and be open-minded, right? Because at the end of the day, all of that is fine to say, leave out the stragglers, leave out the Puquavius, the Puquisha, whatever, but there, people love a Kadir story. Kadir, Puquisha got 4 children from 5 different men. Kadir.
Yeah, but we're going to have to stop glamorizing the fuckery, honestly.
And that's what I'm saying.
There has to come a point where that type of behavior that lends to those outcomes, those results, right, becomes like null and void, because it's not getting you what you so-called claim you want to have as a community, as a healthy, progressive community. So there's going to come a point where that type of behavior will become obsolete, right? And this is what I'm thinking Derek is saying when it comes to stragglers and that kind of stuff. It's going to come down to a point of like the best of the best, the natural selection type of thing. Those things, those behaviors, mindsets, attitudes are going to fall away. It is a matter of time, right? Because the level of dysfunction and imbalance that it perpetuates, and I don't mean any disrespect to women who have multiple children. I'm not coming from a space of disrespect for anybody, right? But what I'm saying is there's going to come a point where that type of behavior and those actions that lend to those types of results are going to become null and void. It's just going to happen because the imbalance cannot continue. It absolutely cannot.
And the way to stop it is to stop rewarding it. But from the time we do what Dr. Umar suggesting here, where the people that have not done it go and help or assist, we encouraging it, we incentivizing it. And the only way is shoot. And I like the fact that he brought it Cardi B, because guess what? Cardi B children don't listen to she music.
Yeah, many of them.
Yeah. Cardi B's children do not listen to her music. But we push it. Our children consuming it. Ain't good enough for hers, but you putting it out for ours, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where it comes back now to family before we get to community, because we as men, we gotta build more. If we control the record labels, we produce the music, but we can't control the record labels, but we can't control the distribution, then we can say, this is what we want our children to listen to. This is what we want our children to consume, as opposed to just TikTok and all kind of fluff, right? If we don't build anything, right, we can direct our children and our families where to go to consume anything. Mm-hmm. And then we got to take what is presented to us. Anyhow, for us is 19 minutes to your 10 in Barbados, the rest of Eastern Caribbean. This has been the Senate Podcast, another thought-provoking discussion that you find. You can let us know if you think so as well. If you enjoyed tonight's conversations, put a couple ones in the chat for us. That'd be great. We'd appreciate it. We have 539 subscribers. We can get up to 540 before the night is done. That'd be great. This is episode 221. Slavery by another name, where the man-woman dynamic in the Black community is doomed, and now we see why. Hopefully we presented a lot of truth for you tonight. See my man ask somebody once. Thank you so much, my brother. Appreciate it. As usual, folks, please remember they have the King's Gathering coming up on August 20th at 6 p.m. in the Ginger Lily Hall in the Bell Estates. Come on out. We're going to have a whole set of information, quality information for you guys. And come out suited and booted. Please dress the part. It's the King's Gathering, not the Paupers Gathering. So we intend to see you out there dressed up and looking the part. Dr. Kerry will be there doing a presentation. And Jariah has already signed on. The others are confirming. Tam Tar Culinary Creations, they have consented to provide the refreshments for the afternoon, for the evening. As Neva said, they're in the pillow on the racing student on there, so but you would get something to break the ear. So come on out and be a part of it. It's going to be a great evening of learning, socializing. It is not a session where we come together to just bash women. That's not what we do. Again, we talk about building communities tonight. That's what we're doing, building communities, leading and teaching and all them kind of things. So that's what we are doing with this particular event. And folks, shoot, to Carrie and Neil and myself, we do not make the rules. We just make sure you know what they are. You can ignore reality all you want, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Be the best version of you for you. We can see you guys again soon. And please remember, as you traverse these streets, you guys got tropical storm Brett out there and all that. So be careful and remember, we have one more video to show you guys before we get out of here. Enjoy it. Peace.
One second. Here we go.
Wilson and Sierra. They seem to have a great relationship. And you said there are a lot of Russell Wilsons out there, but you women don't want to see that because that Russell Wilson doesn't have the money this Russell Wilson has.
Yeah, it's because perception. You know, when you kids are programmed, girls are programmed, even like, you go back to social media, it's like they programmed like 10 years. That's a whole generation of women.
Okay.
So if they've been watching, this is what it takes to get a man, that's what they're gonna go by. Right. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the reality of it. So,
and they judge the man by what he has
what
financially.
he has financially. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should never mess with nobody who ain't got nothing, but at the same time, you chasing billions and millions of dollars when they ain't really. Let's say, for instance, with black men, there's not that many of us that got money for real. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and if there's like 1 million, even statistically, if there's 1 million women and then you got
10,000
10 niggas, you know what I'm saying, that you want, you know what I'm saying, because you want this power dude. You don't want the regular, you want this type of dude, this, that, whatever. You're going to hard press to find.
He has a bigger selection to choose from
yes,
than you do.
Yes, and they take it like you're trying to, it's not really, it's just, I'm just giving you the reality of it. You know?
It says, are you a Russell Wilson type?
I am with my old lady.
Yeah.
I think I am.
Well, who the hell you think I'm talking about? Russell married? I would like
I mean, because I got, me and my old lady, we got side chicks too, but I mean, and even with them, I don't disrespect, I mean, like, they.
Hold on. What you mean you got side chicks?
I say we, not me and my old lady.
Oh, y'all got.
We got friends. Good friends.
So you like a Michael Blackson situation?
What was this situation?
Michael Blackson's like his wife, fiance, they're not married yet, will allow him, I guess, once a month to go do.
No, we do it together. It ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. That's how we kick it. That's how we kick it.
Man, where y'all be meeting these women at?
Hey, man, they find you. You know, nigga. You follow me. You be on my auntie of the week. You be in my comments.
Let me ask you this. I got to know about this.
Keep that part.
So marriage, are you cool? Do you want to get married?
I feel like I'm married as soon as I commit to you. Because I'm a loyal person. If I feel like...
What you mean you a loyal person then?
I am.
Nigga, that's how it works.
It is in my heart. Because it's between me, you, and God. Not paperwork. I do it. I have a wedding for you. I ain't doing that paperwork. Do you sign contracts that don't benefit you?
No.
I ain't either. Stay woke.
Love and peace.